Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever in the world you are. The people of Zimbabwe are preparing for elections. They're expected to be held in August, in a few months' time. There is no verified voters' roll. It is unbelievable how anyone can expect to go into an election without a verified voters' roll. For the record, ever since the country's independence in 1980, Zimbabwe has consistently failed to produce a verified voters' roll. How can you have any meaningful election without a verified voters' roll? I'm pleased to note that the Americans have once again brought attention to this absolutely important issue. It is important. Why we have failed to produce a verified voters' roll beggars belief. Logical and simple explanation for it is, of course, this is a regime that does not want to hold free, fair, and credible elections. But that immediately brings into sharp focus why is the opposition participating in these elections so flawed we don't even have a verified voters' roll. The opposition know we need a verified voters' roll. The opposition knows ZANU-PF has been rigging these elections. The opposition also know that by participating in these flawed elections, they are giving at least SADC the excuse to endorse the elections as being free, fair, and credible, and thus giving ZANU-PF legitimacy. They know that. And they've admitted it. In his book, David Coulthard admits all those 3 points. And his excuse for still participating in the election is that himself, as one side of the opposition, the MDC in Nube, at least in 2018, they could not withdraw from participating because they did not trust their other counterparts from MDCT, led by Morgan Tsvangirai, to withdraw. And so both sides were after the few seats that they knew ZANU-PF was giving away. And they rather go for those few seats than let the other side win them. This has been the problem with Africa. Individuals who knew or who know what they're doing is wrong, but they will not make the right decision out of greed, pure and simple. The opportunity to end the ZANU-PF dictatorship has been wasted again and again and again. The best opportunity was during the 2008 to 2013 GNU, when MDC leaders had the opportunities to implement the democratic reforms, which would have stopped ZANU-PF rigging the elections. They did not. They chose not to implement even one meaningful reform. And so the country was stuck with this process, with this flawed electoral process. The call by the Americans to have the reforms, the verified voters roll, makes a lot of sense. But we can be rest assured that the opposition will, are not paying any heed. They will participate in the coming elections just as they participated in the previous elections without a verified voters roll. That is a tragedy of Zimbabwe. What is even more interesting here is that SADC, knowing fully well that there is not even something as basic as a verified voters roll, will endorse, or in the past have endorsed these elections and granted ZANU-PF political legitimacy. I think this time we have got to take the opposition to task for participating in a flawed electoral process out of greed. And we must also take SADC to task. If they endorse the ZANU-PF's victory and grant the regime political legitimacy, because there is absolutely no justification for it. We totally endorse the American position calling for the voters' roll to be polished and submitted for public scrutiny before the elections. If there's no verified voters' roll, then these elections must be condemned for what they are, a flawed, illegitimate process. And we do not want to see ZANU-PF given legitimacy out of a process that is so flawed, we don't even have a verified voters roll. We want a verified voters roll before the 2023 elections. That point is not negotiable. Thank you and good night.